There is a plant growing on every continent except Antarctica that contains the single highest concentration of trans-resveratrol found anywhere in nature. That is the same compound that made red wine famous for longevity, the same compound that activates what geneticists call the longevity gene, and it is sitting inside the roots of a plant that most Western governments classify as a criminal organism. By the end of this video, you will know exactly why a root more powerful than the gold standard of anti-aging skincare ended up on the world's most wanted weed list, and why the skincare industry has no financial incentive to tell you about it. Let us start with what the industry does want you to buy. Retinol is the gold standard of anti-aging skincare. Dermatologists have recommended it for decades. The clinical literature behind it is enormous. It dominates every skincare aisle in every pharmacy in the Western world, and for good reason. It works. But retinol has a serious limitation that the industry consistently downplays. Irritation, peeling, redness, and increased sun sensitivity affect a significant percentage of users. Many people simply cannot tolerate it. It is not safe during pregnancy. It requires careful, gradual introduction over weeks. And here is the part that rarely makes the marketing copy. Retinol makes your skin more vulnerable to UV damage, which means you cannot use it in the morning without sunscreen, and even then, many dermatologists advise against it. The skincare industry has spent decades building retinol into the only proven anti-aging ingredient in the public imagination, creating what amounts to a monopoly on the concept of turning back the clock. Meanwhile, a compound extracted from a plant root delivers overlapping benefits through a completely different biological mechanism, with almost none of the downsides. But there is a catch we will get to in a moment, because the story of why you have never heard this is more revealing than the science itself. The compound is trans-resveratrol, and the plant is Japanese knotweed. Its scientific name is Reynoutria japonica, though you will still see it listed under the older name Polygonum cuspidatum on most ingredient labels. What this root does at the cellular level is remarkable. Trans-resveratrol from knotweed root upregulates collagen type 1 and type 3 production at the gene level. It specifically works through something called COL3A1 expression, which means it tells your skin cells to produce more of the structural protein that keeps skin firm and resilient. But it does not stop there. It simultaneously suppresses MMP1, MMP3, and MMP9. Those are the matrix metalloproteinase enzymes, the molecular scissors that break down your existing collagen as you age. So it is building new collagen while protecting what you already have. It neutralizes reactive oxygen species, the free radicals generated by pollution, stress, and UV exposure that accelerate visible aging. It activates SIRT1, sometimes called the longevity gene, triggering the same sirtuin pathway linked to caloric restriction and lifespan extension, but specifically in skin cells. It modulates tyrosinase activity to reduce hyperpigmentation and dark spots, functioning as a natural skin brightener. And it inhibits the NF-kappa B inflammatory cascade, reducing redness and cytokine production at the cellular level. Now here is the critical difference that changes the entire equation. Retinol makes your skin more sensitive to sun damage. Resveratrol makes your skin more resistant to sun damage. It acts as a kind of internal sunscreen, reducing UVB, induced DNA damage, and inhibiting photoaging through the AMPK autophagy pathway. You can use resveratrol morning and night without worrying about sun exposure. That is something retinol users can never do. Think about what that means for daily skincare routines. No timing restrictions, no mandatory layering with SPF, no peeling period, no pregnancy warnings. A compound that fights aging through multiple independent mechanisms and actually protects you from the sun instead of making you more vulnerable to it. And the clinical evidence is not thin. A 2025 randomized controlled trial published in Frontiers in Aging studied 134 participants in a double-blind placebo-controlled design. Women over 40 using trans-resveratrol showed significantly reduced wrinkle scores after just 8 weeks, with minimal side effects. A separate 12-week clinical trial with 55 women aged 40 to 60 tested 1% topical resveratrol and found significant improvements in skin firmness, elasticity, and fine wrinkles. Biopsies from treated skin confirmed increased collagen type 3 production. A 2023 study on resveratrol nanoliposomes demonstrated enhanced antioxidant capacity and collagen synthesis compared to free resveratrol, with proven anti-wrinkle and skin brightening results in human trials. Research published in the Journal of Cellular and Molecular Medicine confirmed that SIRT1 activation by resveratrol protects skin keratinocytes from both UVB radiation and hydrogen peroxide-induced cell death. The science is not missing. It is growing rapidly. The problem is not that the evidence does not exist. The problem is that no one has a financial reason to publicize it, and this is where the story gets uncomfortable. Japanese knotweed is virtually unkillable. It thrives in deep shade, full sun, drought, high salinity, and extreme temperatures. It colonizes forest floors, riverbanks, roadsides, railway embankments, and any piece of disturbed ground it can reach. Its rhizome system extends 3 meters deep into the earth and spreads 7 meters laterally from the parent plant. And the root is precisely where the resveratrol concentrates. The deeper and more established the root system, the higher the compound density. A single fragment of rhizome weighing less than 1 gram can regenerate an entire plant. This is why eradication efforts have failed for decades. The United Kingdom alone spends an estimated £166 million annually trying to control it. Mortgage lenders refuse to finance properties where knotweed grows within 7 meters of the structure. Under the Wildlife and Countryside Act, it is a criminal offense in parts of the UK to cause Japanese knotweed to grow in the wild. You could literally grow the most potent natural source of anti-aging compounds on Earth in a shaded corner of your yard, where legal, with zero effort. The plant requires nothing from you. It asks for no fertilizer, no irrigation, no careful soil preparation. It simply grows, relentlessly, storing resveratrol in its roots. But before the West ever classified this plant as an enemy, Asian medicine had been using it as an ally for over 1,500 years. In traditional Chinese medicine, the dried root of Japanese knotweed has been prescribed as hujong since at least 500 CE. Practitioners used it for skin conditions, burns, inflammation, jaundice, and pain. These are applications that modern molecular research has now validated mechanism by mechanism. The root appears in classical pharmacopoeias alongside detailed preparation instructions and dosage guidelines refined over centuries of clinical observation. Korean and Japanese traditional medicine systems independently recognize the same root for similar purposes. When Western scientists finally isolated resveratrol from this plant in 1963, they were confirming what Asian medicine had practiced for over a millennium. And this is not an isolated case. Western dermatology and pharmacology have been systematically slow to validate traditional botanical knowledge from non-Western medical systems. The same pattern appears with turmeric, green tea, ginseng, and dozens of other compounds that traditional medicine identified centuries before Western clinical trials caught up. So why does this root remain hidden? The branding problem is fundamental. Japanese knotweed extract does not sell the way retinol does. The skincare industry spent decades building retinol into a household word associated with youth and cutting-edge science. Resveratrol from knotweed sounds like something you would spray herbicide on, not something you would put on your face. But the branding problem is only the surface. The deeper issue is patent economics. Resveratrol is a natural compound. You cannot patent a plant extract the way you can patent a synthetic retinoid. No patent means no blockbuster marketing budget, no sales force visiting dermatologists, no education campaigns at medical conferences, no glossy advertisements in fashion magazines. The pharmaceutical and cosmetics industries follow a simple, brutal logic. Funding follows patents. Patents require novel synthetic molecules. Natural compounds that anyone can extract from a freely growing plant do not generate the returns that justify billion-dollar marketing campaigns. Then add regulatory hostility. Governments in the West classify the source plant as an invasive pest while spending billions on eradication. It is extraordinarily difficult to champion a skincare ingredient when the organism it comes from is treated as public enemy number one. Dermatologists default to retinoids because the clinical literature is enormous and because retinoid manufacturers fund continuing education programs, conference sponsorships, and research grants. Resveratrol research is accelerating, but the funding infrastructure does not yet match. And the supplement industry faces the same structural problem it faces with any freely available natural compound. You can sell resveratrol capsules, but you cannot prevent consumers from sourcing the raw material themselves. Look at the full pattern. No patent protection, no marketing budget, active regulatory hostility toward the source plant, a name that sounds like a weed, an entrenched competitor with decades of brand equity, and a 1,500-year history in non-Western medicine that Western institutions have been slow to acknowledge. Every single structural incentive in the industry points away from telling you about this compound. And here is the irony that ties this entire story together. The West spends billions of dollars annually trying to destroy Japanese knotweed. We rip it from riverbanks, inject herbicide into its stems, pass laws criminalizing its spread, and refuse mortgages on properties where it grows. Meanwhile, the root of that same plant contains one of the most potent natural anti-aging compounds ever studied, a compound that clinical trials show rivals the dermatological gold standard with fewer side effects and greater sun compatibility. Asian medicine recognized this value over 1,500 years ago and has been using the root continuously ever since. The most powerful natural skincare ingredient we know of is inside a plant we treat as a criminal organism. The plant is not hidden. It is growing through concrete in cities across the developed world. It is pushing through asphalt in parking lots. It is colonizing railway embankments and abandoned lots in plain sight. We labeled it a weed instead of a medicine, and then we spent billions trying to kill it while buying expensive creams that contain inferior synthetic alternatives to what grows inside its roots. So here is what to look for. On skincare ingredient labels, search for Polygonum, cuspidatum root extract, or trans-resveratrol. That is the Japanese knotweed root. It is already present in many Korean beauty and Japanese beauty products, quietly listed as an antioxidant without any fanfare or marketing emphasis. For oral supplementation, Japanese knotweed extract standardized to trans-resveratrol is widely available, and it is in fact the source of most resveratrol supplements already on the market. This is not about abandoning retinol entirely if it works for you. It is about knowing that a powerful, gentler alternative exists that the skincare industry has little financial incentive to promote. The compound works through different mechanisms than retinol, which means it can complement retinol for those who tolerate it or replace it entirely for those who cannot. The research is peer-reviewed. The clinical trials are randomized and controlled. The traditional medicine history spans more than a millennium across multiple independent cultures. The root has been waiting in the ground, in supplement capsules, and on ingredient lists for decades. The only thing missing was someone telling you to look for it. Now you know. If this changed how you think about what is growing in the ground beneath your feet, share it with someone who has given up on retinol or never questioned why their skincare aisle looks the way it does. There is always more buried beneath the surface than the label wants you to see.